Well, hello and good evening, everyone. Welcome to this week's new episode of Primetime Gaming with Mr. BoomStick and Friends. And of course, like I promised, I have brought a ton of friends, one of which is making his debut on this program. Someone I have been talking with in the background, someone that has an incredible YouTube channel that he is going to himself is going to tell you about, and a gentleman that is proper all the way from the other side of the pond. Tay Talks, my brother, welcome to the program.
Thank you for having me, Boom. Really appreciate that, and I'm looking forward to the topics today.
Oh man, it's great. We've been trying to get each other, obviously, if you don't know, it's super late where he is, and he's been, very kind enough to join us, very much like the Wandering Dutch does every week. But Tay, it's great to finally have you on the program. We have an incredible two monster topic show, all Xbox related. I know we all cannot wait to get into what's been going on. We had some IO interactive news drop just before the show, and a lot of people are on the cusp of saying that it literally sounded like, hey, we've just been acquired by Microsoft. But we're going to break down that video, of course, them introducing IOI Barcelona, which is, of course, a studio, a new studio that opened up in the late 2021. Of course, we're going to be talking about, Microsoft maybe having some sort of an urgency to get some big AAA third-party games in there, simply because we have a couple of delays, one announced, one rumored, and we'll talk about who dropped that rumor. But let's get into the rest of the panel. We'll start next with, of course, the Wandering Dutch, brother. Listen, what can I say about what you do with this community? The fact that you've invited so many smaller podcasts into your initiative says a lot about who you are as a content creator, but what you guys do there on a weekly basis is super interesting, entertaining, and very good. If you're not following the Wandering Dutch, if you're not subscribed to the Wandering Dutch, I will tell you that you are doing it wrong. How the heck are you, brother?
Yeah, I'm good. I'm glad to be back again this week. Of course, health issues aside.
Health first, brother. Family first on this program.
Health issues aside, great to be back. Started a new weekend show on Sunday, so yeah, all is good.
Yes, and we will break down that Sunday show come the end of the program, so we can get everyone to check that out. Next up, someone that has upped his game, so to speak, on his weekly Saturday program, the Gaming Circle podcast. Not only were both Mrs. BoomStick and I listening to it live, my wife was like, she was concerned for the fighting that was going on, but I explained that that's just brotherly love. Kay Asante, welcome back, brother. How you feeling?
Thank you so much. Oh, this is going to be a great show. I'm excited to have Tay here. Yes, we got the Gaming Circle back on for 2022. Had some upgrades a bit, and for the first show, I figured we'd do it the way we did it the first time we did it, with myself and Everborn just by ourselves, bickering like little boys as we do. It is what it is. It was a great show. We had so much fun. But yes, thank you so much for having me as usual. This is usually the best part of my Mondays. So yes, I'm looking forward to this, and I expect Everborn will be along momentarily. So the slander will follow quite soon. Yes.
He absolutely. Speak of the devil, and he has just arrived. Everborn Saga. Before we get to you, brother, we got to welcome back the Mag, who unfortunately had to miss last week. Family obviously comes first. The missus came down with COVID. She is doing well. We're glad to hear it. Almost missed today thanks to the Canadian monster known as a snowstorm. Welcome back there, brother.
Yes, guys. I know it sounds crazy that I have to say Happy New Year, but I mean, basically this is like my first show since the New Year. But I am so happy to be back in my spot tonight. We got a great guest tonight. And you know what? We got some great topics tonight. We got some great things to discuss. We got the future of Microsoft, the future of Sony to discuss tonight. And I can't wait to get into the show with you guys. So, and you know what, Asante, let me tell you something. Are you still standing or are you sitting?
I am standing, man.
Okay, you can keep it. You can keep it because I just checked my Fitbit. I'm at 34,000 steps today already, okay? Wow. So it's enough.
Wow.
So anyways, I'm sitting tonight, but I'm still yelling. So guys,
Snowmageddon got you on your feet. I understand.
Oh, man, something else. Yeah, Snowmageddon.
Wait, Mag, are you still snowed in?
Yeah, but I made it home. They even had another word for it today. They called it the Snotorious B.I.G.
Man.
Yep.
That's good.
That's a good one. I didn't
That's
even
a real
come up with
good
it. But anyways, guys, enough nonsense. We got games to talk about tonight. Let's get right into the show.
Yeah, absolutely. And certain last and no way least. And of course, Dizzy Delta 89 drops a comment regarding Everborn. He says, I'm estimating that Everborn's intro will take 11 minutes and 32 seconds. Everborn Saga. What's going on, brother? We talked earlier today. We had a nice conversation about acquisition, something we do quite often. How are you? And welcome back, brother.
Yeah, so if you don't know this, Boom and I call each other randomly for no reason, to speculate about Microsoft acquisitions.
Y'all just have like impromptu podcasts from time to time.
It's a weekly event. We should start recording these things.
Absolutely.
But I was a little bit late because I was supposed to go and walk my dogs, but I convinced the missus to do it because I told her I had a podcast to do. So now I'm sure things will go wrong out there, and then she'll come back and be mad at me.
And say that, see, you should have walked the dog.
You should have walked the dog. Somebody's gonna slip on some ice. I see it happen already. So if I get yelled at midstream, you know where it was from. But I'm excited, man. Happy to be back. I see this. So you're playing Doom right now, right? This
Correct,
is Doom
yes.
Eternal?
Yes.
Is this one of the add-ons, or was this in
I believe this was the first add-on, I believe.
I didn't recognize it either. I was like, what is
he doing underwater?
Yeah, this is
good. This is nice.
BioShock.
I gotta say, man, when you never really put into perspective, right? When you say Microsoft owns Bethesda, right? It's a big deal. But when you say that the next Doom is coming to Xbox and PC exclusively, I don't think that we have understood the ramifications of this until it actually happens. Because what you're seeing in this game, when did it release? 2019, I think it was. I think it was when it came out, and still looks like ridiculous. Like,
well, let me ask you something else. It's not only the next Doom, the next Quake.
Yeah,
is going to be made by this team.
Yes,
that's interesting stuff.
Actually, I'm very excited about that for a couple of reasons. One, it was rumored that the Quake is going to have a female lead, and it's going to be reborn in the same vein as what we saw Doom 2016.
Oh, that would be interesting.
And if that, in fact, is the case, what we're going to wind up getting from ID is a story, a single-player story like this, but with Quake. Which is incredible, but I think what we're going to get on the back end that no one has even discussed yet is the fact that we're going to get a multiplayer aspect, because obviously multiplayer was a big component for Quake back in the days, and I mean we're going to be privy to the first new RPG in a decade in Starfield this year, and I think once that hits, I think it's going to start to sink in with people that maybe Xbox is the place that they may not be their number one, because I believe we're going to see a lot of Sony folks that only have a PlayStation wind up converting simply because of the Series S makes and folks, if you didn't know, the Series S dropped $20 and it sold out instantly. Not a surprise.
Wait till it hits $249 on Black Friday,
and it's going to. And it's I think Sony finds themselves in a bit behind the eight ball, or painted themselves into a corner, whatever you want to say. But I want to open up the show with a topic that I think is extremely relevant. I want to welcome in the 115 people already here. If you are new, I want to welcome you with open arms and suggest and ask politely that you do, in fact, consider hitting the subscribe button. We are officially just a few subs over 600 away from 10,000. And we've done that, I would like to say, in record time. In 4 years, in November 3rd, 2021, we hit 4 years with the channel and only been doing live content for 3. So again, anyway, you guys, if you're new, can help me, on that march to 10K to join the likes of the Iron Lords and Xbox Era and a few other smaller shows. It would be tremendously appreciated. But I want to get into topic number one, and I want to start first with Tay on this one. Tay, look, Earlier last week, we got the confirmation that one of Microsoft's or Xbox Game Pass's biggest exclusives in Stalker 2 was getting a 7-month delay. And 7 months is like, wow. It has a December 8th, 2022 release date, and I'm all for waiting. And like my newest tagline is the Halo effect. All you have to do is look at Halo Infinite and say, well, if they would have pushed the envelope and just popped it out in 2020 like it was supposed to come out, it would have been a disaster. And it baked in there for over a year, and we got in what I believe to be an absolute monster masterpiece from 343 Industry.
So might even call it a banger.
I would dare call it a banger, but I would even dare say, and I've said this publicly, privately, and I'll say it again on the show, this game, both in multiplayer and single player, have absolutely 100% and completely moved them out of the shadow of Bungie. And I believe, and I've said this has officially become my favorite Halo. So the delay is not a problem. But where we run into a little bit of shaky waters is Defining Duke is an incredible podcast. And its hosts, Matty Plays, who is an incredible content creator on his own right, has recently and last year teamed up with Lord Cognito, who is I consider to be a family member. He is my brother. And on the newest episode of Defining Duke, Matty specifically said that there are rumblings that Bethesda's Vampire Romp is going to potentially get a delay to the end of the year. Holiday, they're calling it holiday. Of course, I'm talking about Redfall. Now, Redfall, from what we understand, and this is getting some new information, it is going to be an open world multiplayer type of game where you're going to go around killing vampires. And I can't wait to jump in. And it's one of those games that if it needs to be delayed because it's not ready, then so be it. But those two delays are not the crux of this conversation, Tay. The crux of this conversation is thanks to Jeff Grubb, VentureBeat. He put out a statement a couple of months ago on Twitter that Microsoft, and I've talked about this before, has billions set aside for specifically use in getting third and second party titles to drop into Xbox Game Pass day and date. And with these two delays, one was supposed to come out in the summer, one was supposed to come out in the spring. Microsoft, like they were last year, Tay, they're a little light in the first party department. At the end of the second half of the year, it seems like Microsoft is going to reign supreme just like they did in 2021. But we have big games coming out, specifically next month in Elden Ring and, of course, what's the other one that we have? The zombie one that's coming out.
Dying Light 2?
Dying Light 2, yeah. Those two specific games are big. They are multi-plats, as we know. And it's an interesting conversation to have that. And Taya, I pose this to you. Is there a sense of urgency at Microsoft currently getting these two big Xbox exclusive delays? Is there an urgency to get games, big third-party monster IPs to drop into Xbox Game Pass day and date? Are you there, Tay? Nope. Okay, maybe he's Tay.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, now we hear you.
No, sorry about that. Yeah, no, everything you said there is true. Microsoft is looking pretty light at the start. Pretty much just like last year. Is there a rush? Is there a need for them to actually go and let's say get an Elden Ring or Dying Light 2? I don't think so. And the reason why I say that is because if it's the idea of this it's mindshare, right? So last year Microsoft pretty much dominated on that front.
Yes,
you can look at the games such as MLB The Show. That was a knockout blow, like getting your rival's game on your platform, huge. And we can also look at
for the watch.
exactly like like Outriders as well. That pretty much showed a lot of people that Microsoft can get these third parties games and dates as well. So and then coming on, and then you have Halo, and then you have Forza, you have all these games. So Microsoft pretty much dominated that mindshare element. So I remember saying this to my friend earlier on. Microsoft won 2021. I think we all agree to that pretty much.
Yeah.
But it also kind of cemented the fact that they're back. When I mean they're back, like regardless if you're a fanboy or not, they're here. Anytime before this, it was always a case of, okay, who cares about Microsoft? But now you have to take them seriously. And I think as soon as you establish that, you afforded certain luxuries and privileges. You don't have to go tick for tack with Sony anymore. It's not a case if Microsoft doesn't, respond exactly to something Sony has done or whatever it may be, that they're in a losing position. We can't think that way anymore, because I think we're in a better position for sure.
Yeah.
But the question is, is getting Dying Light 2 or getting Elden Ring going to do great things for Microsoft? And the answer is yes. It will do great things, but I don't really think it's going to do that much in terms of taking mindshare from, let's say, Horizon for Forbidden West, simply because a third party game coming on Game Pass isn't really going to have the same amount of what's what I'm looking for, momentum as a AAA blockbuster game such as Horizon Forbidden West. It's not really going to do that. And so, for example, like if I was to tell my friends Elden Ring is out on Game Pass day one, they still wouldn't go and gravitate towards it on Xbox, simply because they're going to get it on PlayStation. It's the same reason why we say, for example, excuse me, it's the same reason why we say, for example, if Microsoft were to put, let's say, the Bethesda games on PlayStation and then drop it on Game Pass, the PlayStation players will still come. I'm sorry, they won't come to Game Pass because they can get it somewhere else. So it's the exact same thing in that sense. And like I said before, I don't feel they need to actually do anything as much. It would be good, and if they were to do something, then I think you have to get Elden Ring. I think Elden Ring is the game to get. Now, personally, for me, I would prefer Dying Light 2.
You said that in the DM.
Amazing game. I played it like 2 or 3 years after it dropped, and I was blown away completely. And I do think it will do well in Game Pass for sure. It has co-op, it has multiplayer, so I think those are the elements. Those are really strong elements for the game. But also, I mean, if Microsoft do get Elden Ring, I do think it helps them in let's say the Japanese market. I'm not too sure if they actually have a game, maybe that's from the East per se, that they could drop on Game Pass. But I know the Souls-like games do well in Japan, so maybe that's a double hit right there. So for me, I would say they don't need to, they don't have to. If they do, perfect. But for me, I think Microsoft is well established enough to actually say, you know what, let's take a step back. Let Sony have February. That's fine. They can, take control of that. But also, I was thinking about it in this sense. Sony does have another big game coming out, which is going to be God of War.
Right. And
maybe it's better to use those finances to try to, alleviate that instead, because God of War is bigger than Horizon in that sense. But overall, I don't think they have to do anything. But if they were to do something, I would say Elden Ring for sure.
Yeah, I mean, well, the thing is this: Elden Ring, I think, is going to garner more popularity from even like some of the normies are going to attempt to get this game, because the Souls games is a very, very fickle niche kind of a game. But Sekiro did very, very well. Even Dark Souls 3, a lot of people didn't notice, and I actually did notice until I wound up doing one of my videos where I talked about Elden Ring potentially coming. They sold 10 million copies of a Souls game. That's unusual for sure. That's an interesting point that you bring, that Microsoft doesn't have to go blow for blow with Sony, because they are kind of like all three companies, specifically with Microsoft, they are doing things a lot different than they did in the past. And I like the thought process of, let Sony have February, but I think that the most important thing that we can't put a price tag on is word of mouth. Is what Microsoft seemed to do last year, and that's dominate the conversation. And they started that with this year. It started with Microsoft dominating the conversation. It's like they didn't miss a beat. Holiday came, it was nice and quiet, and January hits, and boom, they're dropping all of this news, whether it be Game Pass, whether it be the Ubisoft Plus, Extraction. Like the 20th of January is going to be bonkers. You know what I'm saying? For anyone that is, wants new game, you got the Hitman trilogy coming in there, and we're going to be talking about IO on the back end of this because there's a good shot that they're already first party. They just haven't announced it, and I think if you bring Hitman and make that first party, all I can say is wow. But great points, Tate. We're going to come back to you for the IO, but Dutch, I want to get your opinion on this. I mean, do you agree with Tay here? Does Microsoft need to kind of just like, well, listen, we're doing our own thing. We don't have to respond. Or is there an unseen urgency from Microsoft to drop the bag and get both of these games? Because I've said this on my show before, and I don't know where I heard it, but I know other people have confirmed what I said, is that there was something in the socials that Microsoft dropped a significant amount of money into Techland to help finish Dying Light. Now, when I heard that, for me, and I'm not a business major by any stretch of the truth, I think that on the back end of that deal, coming into Xbox Game Pass day and date almost seems like to be a given. That's just my opinion. I could be 100% wrong. But what if they did say, well, yeah, Horizon, great looking game. I'm sure what's going to happen is Phil, being the gentleman he is, he's going to go out and he's going to congratulate Guerrilla Games and SIE for launching it like he always does. He's a class act. But on the back end of that, you get an announcement that Elden Ring and Dying Light 2 are in Xbox Game Pass day and date. That really does change the conversation. What are your thoughts on this?
Yeah, I mean, I think I do have to agree with Tay on this one. Microsoft don't need to go head to head with Horizon. I mean, that, to be honest, at the same time, that would also be kind of like Sony attempting to go head to head with Halo in the launch window. Like, they could, but why would you?
Yeah,
like it doesn't make any sense. Like, Halo in itself is a juggernaut, and trying to go head to head with something as profound as that is pretty silly, to be honest, especially as a last ditch effort. With Stalker as well, obviously, I think pretty much everybody looked forward to that, other than the NFT hiccup that they had. It's not such a bad thing that it's getting delayed. I mean, we've said it countless times. Delays are only great. They're a really positive thing for games, to be honest.
yes,
Would rather
I agree.
that than end up in a Cyberpunk situation again where it's being forced out to meet shareholder deadlines. So no, I personally don't believe it requires something to be competitive against it. Let them have their time. They've been 6 months of no exclusivity or exclusive first party titles. They've had a lot of time to kind of sit there and work on things for the year. And then let's be frank, God of War isn't stone cold set in stone for this year either. That is a very loose window, and that could very well be delayed later on in the year. So let's wait and see how things go. Obviously, I think Microsoft will get something to pad it out until something more stone is set in stone. But no, I don't think they need to worry too much. It's early on in the year. They've still only literally last month launched Halo. The month before that launched Forza Horizon 5. This is only January. It's the first month of the year. They've got an abundance of Game Pass titles and timed exclusives and things like that coming there. They've got Rainbow Six Extraction going straight into Game Pass. They've got plenty of stuff for people to play. And much like me, you, and everybody else, there's an abundance of third-party titles, massive. I mean, February is absolutely rammed full of titles to play.
Yeah.
Um,
Not enough
again,
time or money.
yeah. Well, you've got and no offense to Guerrilla, but their main competitor isn't from Microsoft. Their main competitor in February is Elden Ring. Elden Ring is is the one that's going to really cause them issues, because that is a big anticipated
This
game.
is very reminiscent, Dutch, of what happened with Breath of the Wild versus Horizon.
Yeah, I would say that.
I just wanted to piggyback off what Dutch said. Completely right there. I think Microsoft is in a position where they don't need to really worry about these things anymore. Like I see them, when I look at my circle anyway, they never really took Microsoft seriously. But after 2021, they're taking them very seriously. So I think when you're playing this, this console games, it's really a matter of Sony's gonna have their time. Microsoft's gonna have their time. So is Nintendo, and to almost like as Dutch said, like Sony responding back to Halo, there was no need. Microsoft got December, November, and then what's gonna happen is Sony might just get January, February, and then it's gonna alternate as the years go by. I think the main important is how does the end round up. So in this case, we have Starfield coming at the end. I think that's going to be the main thing right there. I don't think it's going to be Horizon. I think it's always the November, December games that really leave a mark. So just piggyback of what you were saying.
I was going to say as well, like in terms of, you mentioned January being for Sony. I think technically it's not, because we know exactly what Nintendo is dropping in January, and that's going to sell 40 million units without even blinking an eye.
What's that? Pokemon? Yeah. Yep.
I never include Nintendo in these conversations. They always dominate.
They are their own masters, man. Let me tell you something. Nintendo
They're pulling
is
the strings from the shadows. I said it before. I will say it again. Nintendo is the Kaiser Soze of the gaming industry. And the only people that can put them back in check is a strong Sega.
There we go.
But Sega was going to come into the conversation already.
Who had Sega on the bingo card?
I know. Drink your shot. Here you go. Starting early today.
That's great. Well, listen, Dutch, great stuff. Great stuff from you and Tay so far. I want to continue the round robin. Kay Asante, let's bring you into the conversation. Everyone has made some great points. And I think that, you know what, it has not dawned on me, honestly, until I heard it live from both Dutch and Tay, that they are onto something. I think Microsoft has made such incredible strides that they do not have to respond because of what they have done and what we know they're going to continue to do with the 23 studios, and that's potentially expanding this year in a big way. But I still don't want to just tip the hat and say, well, let's Sony, because the one thing that we know for sure is that Sony is going to dominate the conversation when Horizon comes out, because the game is going to be a beast. Anyone that says otherwise, you're lying to yourself. Whether you thought the game was boring as all hell or not, I am telling you that this sequel is going to be everything they wanted to do in the first one, and then some. I cannot wait to play it, and whatever I'm playing, it gets stopped because I'm going right to that game when it comes out. I'm not the only one either. But I still think that when you look at Sony, and the writing was on the wall, so Sony was lulled to sleep, and they did that to themselves in the second half of 2021 because a lot of their stuff got delayed and was coming out this year. Well, that happened to Microsoft in 2020, and 2021 was a behemoth year for them. Sony, as we know, the only three that we think are coming out is Horizon, Gran Turismo, which they just dropped a new trailer in Daytona, which looked pretty good. And of course, now everyone keeps saying, oh, God of War, God of War, God of War. I know that the mag has been beating this drum. I kind of stepped back and started thinking maybe it is. But when you see Starfield coming out, let's say it launches in November, hypothetically, Is Sony going to want God of War to go up against Starfield? I don't think that's I don't think that's a war they're going to win, in my opinion. And then nothing against God of War. I can't wait. Love the first one. But at that point, you're like, you know what? We're just going to put it to 2023 March, and get out of the way of this juggernaut. But do you think, with the monies that they have set aside, that has been confirmed by an industry insider that most of us know, love, and trust, do they drop the bag to kind of maybe not steal the conversation away from Sony, but certainly not allow them to run rampant?
So I would I hate to be in vigorous agreement, but I agree with both Tay and Dutch on this. And where I'll be a little different is it's not because they've established themselves, it's because that's what Phil Spencer has always wanted to do from jump. You remember we've been on this show having these conversations a couple months back where, we don't want to be like the blue team. We don't want to be like the red team. We want to be our own team. Those conversations have happened.
Yes.
They've never wanted to go tit for tat because, they got something, so now we have to reply. They've never done that. They've always wanted to play to their own strengths, play to their own timelines. Sometimes it coincides with what somebody else is doing. Sometimes it does not, Now, do I think that you'll probably see Dying Light on Game Pass? I can see that happening. But if that happens, I don't think it'll be like, Stalker's not hitting, so quickly go get something real quick to counteract that. This was part of the plan from jump. Like, this is what they're doing. Sometimes there's a dearth of content. Other times you're swimming in it, right? And that's just their way of approaching what they're doing. And it makes sense to me because they're not competing with PlayStation. PlayStation does not have the Game Pass of gaming that requires constant iteration and feeding the beast, as it were, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
I'm playing crazy, weird third-party yet. We'll get there. Yes. I'm right now. I forget the name is very hard to pronounce. I'm playing this game called Oluja on Game
dude,
Pass
the puzzle
right now.
game. It's great.
It is awesome. Like,
I got 800 gamer score out of that.
I'm close to that myself. You're awesome. Scratching
your head. A lot of the times it's difficult. Yes.
Yeah, with the hook shot that you're murking fools with, and the whole game looks like you're playing an Amiga. Like, it's just the craziest game. It's awesome, right? But these are games that they're not putting out there because we're competing with this person or that person. They're putting it out there because maybe during that timeline they don't have their next AAA quote unquote banger, or they feel like, hey, this would do best here, right? I don't see, and maybe I'm wrong, but based on all the interviews you hear from Phil Spencer and even Matt Booty, I forget, every time we say that, we have to say this now: respect the Booty. He's putting out good work. You know what I'm saying?
I love it.
Every time we got to respect the Booty. Anyway,
we're not gonna get no pauses.
No pauses, because the booty requires respect. Move on.
You see what I'm talking about?
Move on.
We need to go back to school.
No, we don't.
Have to train everybody again.
Yeah, you train your dog. So they've been doing a lot of good work as of late, and it seems like they are playing to the beat of their own drum in that way, right? And not necessarily because, here's the next big thing from this competitor, so here we come to counteract that, right? This is not a Call of Duty thing where, hey, Halo's dropping, so here's a new map, because then you look ridiculous, right? And as everybody has already correctly pointed out, they couldn't have anything that is of that caliber that can really compete, and I don't think they're trying to. Right. I really don't think they're trying to. Like, we have there's so many weird games that are potentially coming up this year, even without their first parties really hitting, as we've already mentioned. There's some delays that have happened. And speaking of that, we can get further into that later, but it is kind of funny how we're seeing all these Unreal Engine 5 games delayed. It's becoming a bit of a habit, Redfall rumored being the second of this, first being Stalker, Well,
so it's still in beta to be fair.
Exactly. So that may be something that needs to be looked further into. But in general, I completely agree that not necessarily because they are now established and they can rest easy, but it seems like their commander-in-chief came into this job going, we're going to do what we do. We're in a vacuum. They don't matter. We're not looking at what they're doing. We're doing what we're doing, and if there's a gap in our schedule, we'll fill it as we see fit, not because the other people are doing other things. You know what I mean? That's at least the vibe I've been getting from them for a long time. Now, real quick, to the point of Elden Ring, you know, they seem to be, and if I'm not mistaken, that's Bandai Namco. They seem to be on some loyalty tip, because remember the insider we all love, as you've mentioned, Mr. Grubby Grub, already mentioned that they dropped a big old bag just to get the rights to market that game, right? And what ended up happening? That bag was rejected because they were afraid of where their bread was getting buttered. So, namely Sony. So eventually, that game was actually announced on the Switzerland stage, which was the Game Fest, Game Awards stage, right? Yeah. So they basically rejected a Microsoft bag to keep the peace. I don't foresee, if that's really the case, I don't foresee them taking a bigger bag to say screw it, because it would have to be a big, like, monumental, like, you know,
it'd have to be a bag, like I said in my video, that basically covered the development of this game, which is rumored to be
hundreds of millions of dollars here.
$200 million plus.
Exactly. And in a world like Netflix making their own stuff, in that world, I don't see them paying top dollar for third party. You know, like we've heard from Jez and a few other folks, the reason why Final Fantasy doesn't seem to be making their way towards the Xbox is because the type of money that Square is looking for, Microsoft is no longer willing to give them, because they're busy working on their own thing. I don't foresee them going, all right, Elden Ring is that worthy, or we need to compete with PlayStation that much, where we're going to drop that substantial bag that we could be giving to our own studios to continue doing the work they're doing, even though they are all made of money. Like that, we know this. They are made of
buying
money.
A new studio. Once you get to that $200 million number.
Exactly. Yeah, I honestly think so. So long story short, I honestly think that, like, they're seeing their plans come to fruition. As you know, Microsoft is not a yacht. It's not a dinghy. It's a huge Titanic-like ship that takes a long time to turn. And you're finally seeing them, that their plans, like, working out. And I don't foresee them making any quick edits because we see them down. You know what I mean? Their Series S bet is working out like gangbusters. You know, even when people were clowning them, Everborn. You know, we see them we see them getting clowned left and right until they're winning all the way to the bank. So now's not the time for them to get a little soft and go, oh, you know, PlayStation might be doing this. They're actually out there, and I'm sure you'll talk about it. They're actually out there going, well, you know, we think other competitors should do what we're doing. You know what I'm saying? Like, they're eager that way. So I really don't foresee them. And that's not to say, Boom, that they're just going to sit back and let February become somebody else's. They might go, February is the time for indies. You know, we have Tunic coming. We have all these other very interesting games coming. Games you don't know you'll love until you try it. You know, let the big dogs have the big AAAs. We still have interesting things here, and we'll probably see those interesting things. That's where I think it's going to land this time around.
I mean, you make everyone. This what a way to open up the show. And we still got the Mag and Everborn to get into this conversation. Real quick, I want to thank JD Gamer becoming a member of the channel. JD, first of all, brother, welcome back. And also, he drops an outstanding and very generous $10 super chat and says, in any fight, it's a measure of blows, knockdowns, or knockouts. Never in a fight do you let the opponent have one unless you're trapping them. So I say get both games to counter Horizon. And like I said, I think everyone has made some really good points, specifically in the do you drop $200 million to get a third party in there day and date, or do you drop that money on a new studio?
Hey, JD Gamer, let me ask you, have you ever heard, are you familiar with what they call the rope-a-dope?
Yeah, rope-a-dope indeed. Yes, that was made very famous by, I believe, it's Muhammad Ali, if I'm not mistaken.
That is correct.
But Mag, look, let's get your opinion on this. I think that Microsoft finds themselves in a unique position. They are no longer the guy sitting on the bench that no one wants to pick. People are picking them first. And you know, this has become some schoolyard antics, because Nintendo, they're doing their own thing. They're the artist, of the bunch. They're doing their own thing, and everyone knows it's going to be good because it's Nintendo. But right now, Sony is always going to be Sony. Like I said, if people slept on them and didn't count them in for this year, and that was a mistake, because they are going to have some pretty big titles. But when it comes to market mind share, it's something that Microsoft had a hard time holding on to last gen, where they kind of got curb stomped by Sony's ridiculously good marketing. Now, that same marketing, I don't know what changed at Sony, but
Not the same.
Something did change, because you're absolutely correct. It is not the same team. It is a different animal, because they're just not hitting on the cylinders. They're not tenacious at all. They always seem to be, what in my opinion, caught flat-footed in recent months. And I'm not the only one to say that. And this isn't a fanboy attack. This is just, you got to read the room. And that's what I am reading. But my question to you is, does Microsoft look at the first 6 months and say, okay, a lot of our first party stuff from Bethesda is coming on the second half. This is a repeat of 2021, and we know that they are going to dominate the conversation in the second half of the year. There's no doubt. And I got again, not to make this a topic, because I think we'll talk about this on Friday. Jeff Grubb on TikTok just dropped that E3 might actually be canceled. All of E3, no digital event, no nothing. It's just not going to be a thing. Which
they're getting the hint, I guess.
I don't know. I know that he did say that Jeff Keighley is going to be doing his summer game fest thingamajig. Last year wasn't good. It was not good. Last year was just a mess. So I don't know what's going to happen there. But just kind of reeling it back in. Does Microsoft need to get a Gotham Knights, a Suicide Squad, or any of the big AAA games in Game Pass to keep them in the conversation? Because when a big AAA game drops into Game Pass, the entire industry, not just Xbox, everyone does this and takes a step back and say, how did they do that? How could this be? And this is why the little man that no one counted on is winning the hearts and minds of many, because right now it's the only console that's actively available, because you still can't find a PS5. Very difficult to find an Xbox Series X. Microsoft is doing things right. Do they go the extra mile and spend that cash?
They have to. And I'll tell you why, in my opinion anyway. There was something actually interesting that Tay said when he was talking, and Dutch sort of echoed that as well. We were talking about how Microsoft doesn't necessarily have to go tit for tat with what Sony's doing or whatever else, right? Because they are kind of going on their own paths, right? They're doing their own thing. Microsoft does this, PlayStation does that. Although, let's not lie to ourselves, guys. PlayStation hasn't done anything up until this point. Yes, okay, they got stuff coming up starting next week with Uncharted. And then, of course, a couple of weeks later, you've got Horizon Forbidden West and whatever else, right? And then you've got the spring where they got Forspoken and stuff. So, Sony's got a solid year coming up. Here's the thing. This is where I got to say that Xbox cannot be complacent, okay? Regardless of the fact that they've been controlling the narrative in 2021, they cannot stop or slow down, because there's multiple reasons. One, you cannot lose the mindshare war. And the thing is, never mind the video game industry, any industry, especially now that's connected to social media and everything else, right, is that it's what have you done for me lately, right? So you've got to keep in the conversation. You can't back out of that conversation. And and the other thing is too, like let's take a look at some of the Sony crowd, not the good Sony crowd. I'm talking about like the very vocal, toxic minority of the Sony crowd, right? They're very loud. Okay, so when Horizon comes out, they're going to be very loud. So the point of that is that that's going to spill into the casuals. It's going to spill into the people who are maybe just getting on Twitter for the first time, gaming Twitter for the first time, or Facebook gaming, or whatever, right? And all they're going to hear is the Sony talk, which is great for Sony, Not great for Xbox because then nobody's going to be talking about Xbox. When Tom Brady has won how many Super Bowls, how many AFC championships, how many, like, just everything, does he just kick back?
No,
And
the
just
GOAT
say,
continues.
Yeah, I'm good. I'm fine. I'm just going to sit here with my feet up. No, he takes the Philly Eagles yesterday and absolutely mops the floor with their face. That's what he does. That's what winners do. And what they got to do is that they've got to continue to do those kind of things. They have to control the narrative. We're talking about February, right? February is a big month. All right. It's a big month for gaming.
Yes.
Now, here's the thing. Dying Light 2, for example, I've already said it before. I'll say it again. I'm almost 100% certain it's going to Game Pass day one. They put $50 million, Microsoft did, put $50 million into the development of that game. You have got to be kidding me if that game's not going to be in Game Pass. That was probably one of the stipulations of saying, hey, listen, you guys are in development hell. You need a push. We'll give you that push. However, okay, that's where the Don Corleone comes in. And then he's like, I'm doing you a favor. One day I'm going to need you to do
I'm going to need a favor on the back end of this.
Right. So that's where Microsoft's got a Don Corleone that situation. And they say, listen, when this game comes out, when it's ready, whenever the hell it's ready, this conversation happened a couple years ago, 3 years ago even. We need it in Game Pass. Fine. They're probably going to say fine. You think they're going to say no? Because Microsoft's got the bag at the door.
Yes,
full of cash.
indeed.
And they're going to be like, yeah, whatever you want, man. You want a Game Pass? Go right ahead. They're not going to announce it because they have to announce it. It's going to be a strategy, right? They have to hang on to that as an ace. So they're waiting to see what Sony did in the last year. Now you've got February coming around when they got their big title coming out. Hot off the heels of Uncharted. I don't care what anybody says. I still think that Uncharted Legacy of Thieves edition is going to do very well. Now,
I would jump on that, but $70, dude, I can't. I can't. I would play those games again because I love Uncharted, man. I love
my
Nathan
favorite.
Drake.
It's one of my favorite series of all time. So I think I had to. I mean, what was I supposed to do? I couldn't say no to it. It's like Tomb Raider.
Now,
Tomb
real
Raider,
quick,
Uncharted.
what if it shows up in the old Spartacus? Would that get you to subscribe? Maybe not 70 to buy, but subscribe.
I'm going to subscribe to that anyway.
Me
Regardless.
too. Yeah, I'm in that day one.
Assuming that they've got something worth subscribing to, because I mean, all the first-party games I already have, right, from Sony. That's kind of all I really do there on the Sony side is play the exclusives. But, anyways, the thing is, you want to control. Like I said, you want to control the narrative. Now, a lot of people think. Now, you speaking of narratives, a lot of people think that Elden Ring is a PlayStation exclusive. I don't know if you guys have ever noticed that or people talking about it. They all think that, like, I was actually seeing a lot of people very surprised when they found out that it was actually a multi-platform game because a lot of them think it's a Sony game.
Yes.
And the thing is, there's a history there. You got to face it. There's a history there. The Dark Souls thing, like Boom said at the very, very beginning of the show, like, for example, Dark Souls 3 sold 10 million. All right. The Dark Souls series, if you can imagine this, sold 27 million copies.
Yeah.
That is a force to be reckoned with. And especially from Software, they've got a reputation. They won Game of the Year, 2 years ago? Was it 2 years ago with Sekiro?
Yes.
At the Keeleys? Okay.
Yes.
So that is something that Microsoft would need to get. Yeah, the Dying Light 2 thing is great, okay? I think that's still coming. But the thing is, I think they still need that Elden Ring to steal that thunder, a la MLB The Show from last year. Okay, and the thing is, if anybody says that, oh, well, it's kind of nuts, they can't do that. They're like a week apart. So why would they do that? Why would they do that? They did the same thing last year, guys. Everybody got a real short memory. Outriders and MLB The Show came out within a week of each other.
Yeah, and they had them both in Game Pass. Yeah,
and they came out within 6 days of each other on Game Pass.
Yeah.
Okay,
They did the same with their first parties. They let Horizon, Forza Horizon, climb high heights, and just before it even had a chance anybody had a chance to breathe, they smacked you in the face with Halo multiplayer. So
that's right.
That game continues to grow with 15+ million players, which is remarkable. So what I think that I think a 1-2 punch is absolutely
merited. I'm not, whether it's going to happen or not, I have no idea. But I'm just saying it's not out of the realm of possibility, considering that Outriders and MLB The Show came out within a week of each other. So there's no reason why I couldn't. Now, the only thing that I could think of that might stop that is that I understand that there was a little bit of an iffy situation with the dev team saying, or the publisher there, because they were worried that they were upsetting Sony. You remember that? Because they were showing it at the Microsoft showcase.
Yes.
And apparently Sony was not too happy about it. So then they started showing it on the Sony side. And I'm like, okay, I get it. They don't want to, you don't want to upset them too. Japanese companies, right? You want to stay in cahoots with each other. You don't want to be with the big bad Americans, right? So, so it is what it is. But I think that would be a big move. But let me tell you something. Ted DiBiase said it, folks. Everybody's got a price.
Yeah,
and we know that. Okay, so the money talks. Sony could be upset, but you know what? Money talks. If they could pay for the development costs of that game through a deal from Game Pass, that is a huge win because I
bet you Sony was upset about MLB.
Yeah,
well,
exactly,
they're gonna. You know what? The latest rumor is that MLB 22
that's correct.
is launching Game Pass day and dates, and it's going to follow the same suit. And when I say that, the updated version, the next gen version that Sony players have to pay for, Xbox Game Pass subscribers do not have to pay for that. It's included in there for the price of free.
That's huge. Now, I want to touch on one last thing before we throw it off to Everborn here. You did briefly mention Suicide Squad, Gotham Knights, that kind of thing, right? We all know that, first of all, we don't know when those games are coming out. They could come out in the spring, the summer, the fall. Nobody really knows, right?
Right.
So here's the thing is that, okay, let's say for argument's sake, we've got that situation down where you've got the Elden Ring situation, the Dying Light 2 situation. Well, hot off the heels of that, Sony's got Forspoken coming out.
Yes.
And now here's the thing. A lot of people are like, oh, but it's coming to Xbox. Like when? 2024? Who cares?
It's a 2-year exclusive confirmed.
Yeah,
yes.
I'm not a PC player. I'm not going to wait 19 years just to get a game. Oh, wait. The PC players, they'll be like, yeah, it's coming in 5 years. Wait.
To be fair, if you are a PC player, you can play that game day and date when it releases, and you'll still have Xbox achievements. Weird situation, but true.
Wow, that's something. So now, what are you gonna do? Microsoft has one hell of a good relationship with WB.
Yes, they do.
Okay, they have a great relationship with them. Those games, maybe not Suicide Squad, but certainly Gotham Knights, is not a proven IP or anything.
Well,
right?
it's also, but can I add something to what you're about to say? It falls into the line of what games do go in, and it's multiplayer.
Right. That I was going to get to that in a moment. It was basically like the Redfall in the DC in the Batman universe, right?
Yes.
So here's the thing: that'd be a great game to put in there. Gotham Knights would be good. Suicide Squad, I can't see it going there. I think it's just too big of a name. I just don't think that I think they're just going to just say no, we'll give you Gotham Knights.
Right.
Maybe even Harry Potter or Hogwarts Legacy. That might be another one you might throw in there. Who the hell knows?
Well, Mag, let me ask you a question, though. Is Suicide Squad too big of a game? Too big of a name, sorry?
I think it's not because of the name of I don't think it's the Suicide Squad name. I think it's because you're dealing with the development team. I mean, we're talking about the team that did, the Holy Trilogy, right? Well, quadrilogy if you include the other one, right?
True.
The Arkham series. So, I mean, I think they're going to be riding high off the fact that, these are the creators of the Arkham series, right? I think that's where it gets too big, right? And that's
what
where
about Hogwarts Legacy?
Well, that's what I was saying. I'm saying Hogwarts Legacy. I could see that.
Didn't Jez and them say that Hogwarts Legacy is very rare? They don't foresee it coming because it's in development hell or something. It might not come out this year.
There was a report today.
I saw that today. Yeah.
Yeah, there was a report today that Hogwarts Legacy looks as if it's being pushed into 2023.
Yes, I did see that today too. Breaks my bloody heart. I'll tell you that much because I've been waiting.
You know what I want to the saying that I want to stop hearing as well, specifically in the current climate, is development hell. Just because a game is going through a little bit of a tough time, it doesn't mean it's in hell.
True. Yeah.
It's
very true.
Overused term in gaming development right now.
Same thing in movies,
hell.
Dutch. I mean, Like you get like if they have to do some reshoots because they weren't happy with the cut or whatever, they're like, oh, it's development hell now. I'm like, no, they're just doing some reshoots because they want to fix the story. Why would you know what I mean?
It is
That's
a
like
good
releasing
point,
a
Dutch.
book without an editor.
Imagine if
wanted
the game
editors,
came
right?
out. If it comes out, it'll be like what do you call it? Cyberpunk. Then it's actually hell. But as long as it hasn't released yet, they've avoided hell.
Exactly. Right. So like anyway, that's what I see. I see that they need to make all these. They need to make these moves because they need to stay relevant, especially when they've got their big first party titles coming later in the year. Sure, they're going to dominate. Let's say October to December. With all the big games that they got coming out. Redfall. What's it called? Stalker 2. Possibly Redfall. They're saying that that's possibly delayed. I don't see that going into the same time as Starfield and all that, but maybe a month or so. But anyways, the point is that they need to do something now to stay in the conversation so that at the end of the year, that's when you can hit them with the knockout punch. Because the one thing you got to guarantee, yes, Sony's tripping over their own feet since the announcement of the PS5, but they're still doing extremely well. And the other thing is they're not going to take it lying down. They're going to come strong. And so don't nice. Very nice, Everborn. You cannot underestimate your opponent, regardless of the fact that they're working together. They're not working together, but you know what I mean. They're just sort of coexisting. You still cannot underestimate your opponent because when if you trip, Sony will step on your neck.
Absolutely, 100%.
So that's it.
Mag, I actually get a lot of what you're saying. I think you're making a lot of really good, valid points. I guess maybe the reason why I just think a little bit different is because I do think Microsoft is at that stage where they can afford that. Just simply because when I look at Sony, I never look at Sony as a case of Sony doesn't have to necessarily respond every time, And I think when Microsoft was in the let's say a losing position, you always playing catch up, so you're always chasing it. You're always chasing them. But as soon as 2021 was over, it was so crystal clear that Microsoft is back. Yeah, I just like I would be like, when you're back, you don't have to chase anymore. Now you still need to be consistent, but I don't think you need to be consistent in the sense of like even like competing against Horizon. Horizon is a huge game. There's nothing you can really do to really go one-to-one with that. Now you could get a few games on Game Pass, of course, and I think Microsoft should obviously look at that. I think Dying Light 2 is a good catch. But I don't know. Like I was telling some of my friends that Microsoft really don't need to go crazy. They don't really need to be doing as much anymore. If this was 2021, early 2021, I would definitely agree with you. I would say yes, get Elden Ring, get Dying Light 2 as well, because you're chasing Sony. Sony has all the mindshare now. But coming back of 2021 with Forza, Halo, that's all I heard. That's all that was dominating.
Oh yeah,
so
they dominated the conversation.
Yeah,
but I don't think that lasts forever. You know what I mean? I still think that once they're done, they're like, all right, we're done. What's next?
Yeah.
Right. And I think that's the way, the way that we consume media now. They've done that to us. Look at Netflix and Amazon Prime and Hulu and HBO Max, all that kind of stuff. Right. They've given you so much content that the minute you devour it, they're like, all right, what's next? They're never. They put you in a position where you almost never feel satisfied anymore.
Microsoft Mondays.
Yeah, indeed.
You wake up every Monday. What's the new announcement?
That's right. Remember that, Everborn? Yeah, same deal. Like every Monday we did a show. There was always something going down. So I'm just saying that this is almost insatiable hunger that these people can't ever be satisfied. And they always need to what's next? What's next? What's next? You remember when they got Bethesda? They're like, awesome. What's next? Can you relax? They just spent billions of dollars. Can you let them recoup a little bit? It was just within a week, everybody was like, oh, they're going to buy this next. I'm like, guys, slow down. But the problem is that's not the way we've been trained now. We've been trained to consume this stuff at a record pace. And therefore, the expectations are always going to just keep what's more, what's next, what's next. Otherwise, you're left in the dust. That's the way I just see it. It's for example, if you don't go on Twitter for 5 days, you start losing followers. Same thing with YouTube. You don't put out a video for a week. That's it. You start losing viewers. People are like, and they walk away to the next guy. It's crazy if you're not consistent, right? I don't know. It's just me. But
no, I mean, makes a lot of sense. Really good stuff. Let's bring in Everborn Saga. Everborn, from a businessman who obviously you have your own business. Does Microsoft? Well, quite a few of them. That's you're the Heyman of this panel for sure. according to you. Those are your words. But everyone, does Microsoft need to keep the another famous wording from you is you like to say they need to keep the foot on the neck. Is this something that Microsoft needs to continue to do? And would something like these two behemoth AAA games dropped into Game Pass, and again, I don't want to say steal the spotlight away from Horizon, because I'm playing Horizon. I cannot wait to play that game. I'm a huge fan of what Guerrilla Games did. For you, would this be one of those? Because it almost seems like a Sony-esque move. Like, if Microsoft is doing something good, Sony has always gone out of their way to do something and steal the shine away, right? Well, this is one of those situations where it appears that if we're reading the room correctly, they could drop the bag. What are your thoughts on this? Do they need to do this, Everborn Saga?
I'm trying to get off of mute, and the answer is absolutely not.
Okay, nice.
Right?
I love
Here's
it.
the thing. What a lot of people don't understand is the foot is already on the neck, right? But it's not Sony's foot and Microsoft's neck. That role is reversed. You understand? You see, we just learned that Sony, as a response to losing customers to the Series S, is now making more PS4s.
Yes.
And you know what just magically got announced? That it just happened to leak to The Verge because somebody got an anonymous phone call from probably Phil Spencer. Hey, guess what? We just happened to stop making Xbox Ones last year.
Yeah,
We're only next
that is
gen.
true.
That's right.
You think that was a mistake? You think that article was it planned, just waiting because they knew that was going to happen, right? So then you see Phil Spencer in this article today. I don't know if we're going to talk about this, where he was asked by IGN about swagger jacking of services, and he said, "Of course they're going to copy it.
Yep.
Why wouldn't they? This is the direction the industry is going, and we're telling them which way to go."
Yeah.
So let's take stock of where we are, because I remember last year everybody was like, Microsoft doesn't release any games until the last 2 months. Guess what? When the Game Awards came around, they had twice the nominations of their closest competitor in terms of recognition. You couldn't hear about my PS5 right now. Both of them are full of dust because after Deathloop and I'm waiting on Deathloop. But
I got a couple hours into it, and then I realized that I just wanted to play it. And I like you. The last time, I don't know, Tay, if you got a
Ratchet
PS5.
is when I finished Ratchet.
The last time I actually turned on my this is a true story, folks. I swear to God. Last time I turned on my PlayStation 5 was by accident because I was dusting. I'm not trying to be. I'm not flaming the.
Why did
fanboy.
Solar Ash get completely murdered by PlayStation? It came out. It's a good game.
Oh
Nobody
no! Wait, hold
played
on. I'm lying. I did play Kana, and I like that.
Oh,
game.
yeah,
That was
Kana's good.
But
Kana's
the point
really
is,
good.
that was 4 months ago. So the thing is this. Let's not like, if you have to answer every little thing, like how when Halo's getting all this positive news and we just happen to see Horizon Forbidden West GIF showing some animations.
Yes,
that's a sign of weakness if you have to answer to every little thing, right? So let's trust the plan, right? And every month, we are in January and we just heard about Ubisoft Plus and Extraction, right? It's not even February yet, which is an onslaught of things where it doesn't make sense to release anything in that month, and everyone that does, we're just like, when is this one going to get?
It's funny. There's still 2 weeks left of this month,
right?
Officially.
So January's covered. We got the big Ubisoft news. You did a whole X vlog about it, right? February is another story.
Yeah.
Right. So and there are people arguing in the back, or not arguing, but family stuff. But the point is, This is all a part of the plan. Let's sit back and watch this thing play out. I guarantee you there will be another emergency X vlog for the February announcement, whatever that is. They have successfully every month made sure there was a reason for Xbox to be in the news. Every month they have I know that was probably for slow.
Yeah, I know you're laughing, Asante, because I'm
You'll
laughing
talk
too.
about
I'm going to read it in a second.
So my point is, every month,
Oh my goodness,
without fail, they've made sure Xbox is the most reported on thing in the news, and
it's
the most.
It seems like it's always
the topic
trending
of the most spaces,
Yeah.
which is where I live, right? So
Stay away
again,
from those spaces.
let's not worry about it. It is only January. Let's see what they announce, and I guarantee you, your subscription will be well earned.
Yeah,
that's all I'm saying.
I mean, listen, what can I say? First of all, this was an incredible 1 hour and 5 minutes of show. Not only because I'm unbelievably thrilled to finally be working with Tay Talks. I found him. He did a couple of videos, and I was so impressed with some of the work that he did. I said, if I don't get him on the show, it's going to be a travesty of justice, and I'm not sorry that I did. Obviously, now that you're on, you're going to get the golden ticket, brother. Whenever you are free and you want to join us, man, you have the key to the back door. You grab a beer, grab a Dr. Pepper, because I don't drink, and put your feet up on the couch, and we're good. But I want to catch up some of the super chats. Been quite a few of them. One specific one that I have to read. That just made me laugh, and it's typical slow-mo. And again, him and Gaming Forte. This is a duo that works so hard in their channels that I am so proud to consider them brothers of mine. If you're not subscribed and you're not tuning in to their show weekly, or you're sub to their channel, man, you're doing it definitely wrong. But the next, the last super chat that came in was from JD Gamer, another outstanding and extremely generous $10 super chat, and says, Rope-a-Dope gave that man brain damage. Of course, talking about Muhammad Ali, and has been outlawed. An outlaw technique. Technique in the ring.
Shout out to Slow Mo, the PC apologist. I see you, buddy.
Stop it. And don't forget the one before it from Scrub Nurse. It's in the private.
Yeah. You know what? Let me get in there. It's okay. Hold on. Oh yes, a very good friend of the show, Scrub Nurse, who's on Noof Nukem Sunday podcast. Good Morning Xbox, that everyone should be tuning into. He says Sony will put out God of War 2 and won't worry about Starfield because of arrogance, or plus they need to get it out to the masses. Yeah, you know, I think you're definitely onto something, because there is a bit of arrogance to Sony. They've always been that way. And of course, the $10 super chat was talking about from yeah. Somebody want to say something? Oh, okay. He says, he continues, sorry, but when it's a matter of reputation and you have no reputation points to lose, you allow no besmirching. He's definitely on something. Pragmatic Eagle, good friend, generous friend of the show. He drops a $10 super chat and says, the idea that every release has to be a AAA to be a worthwhile release is indicative of why some gamers claim to be bored. Try AA and indie games. You won't be disappointed. Boredom is your own doing.
The most innovation you will find is in the indie games, and then the AAA steal it later on and polish it down till it is bland and acceptable to everyone. Yeah. That's where your action is going to be. I just wanted to say one more thing that was a point that I was making to you earlier, Boom, when we talked, and Kay Asante. I'm tired. Nobody on this panel, but I'm a little tired of seeing sort of the blue envy that a lot of us on Team Green get, where we see, well, Sony's doing this, so they don't have to do that. I really think Xbox has a winning plan right now.
They do.
And they have to stick to that. And if they start changing up plans just because they want to meet sort of fake comparison, I think Sony can be great and do what they do, and they can do different things and still be a runaway success. So it is a competition, yes, but not like a dirty competition in the way that we are used to, because that is what the industry used to be. Right now, their goal is to create value for you in Game Pass. It's not necessarily to beat Sony. So when they have big titles for you to play and interesting smaller titles for you to play, that's how they win. And again,
you're onto something with that. 100%.
And with the Series S, they're creating a world where they can win over PlayStation fans without having to make them have a choice, because the Series S can be positioned as a secondary console or just a budget console, all those things. So two things can be true. Horizon Forbidden West can be huge, and Microsoft's war of attrition can ultimately, when things are said and done by the end of the year, be the right one when we go back and look at it. Because while we were in it in 2021, all we talked about was Ratchet and Clank and Returnal.
Yeah.
But when we got to the end of the year, we were like, oh, wow, 20 nominations?
Yeah,
oh, wow, 15 million players in Horizon, and whatever the Halo numbers are, we'll see those soon, I guess, maybe, right? And look forward to, I think the 25th, this is when their Investor Day. Yep. So what they're going to make some announcements there.
Numbers, hopefully. Yeah.
And that's where we heard the last Game Pass numbers last year. So we will see, or maybe we'll hear something else. Who knows?
Maybe we'll hear something else, but we're going to get, we're going to roll into that in a hot second, because I got some thoughts about IO Interactive. But Slow-Mo Backslap, good friend of this show, good friend of this community, and as slanderous as ever, says simply this after dropping a $5 super chat: how Boom isn't at 10K subs is a travesty, as almost as big as a travesty as Sonic's open world frame rate.
Well, ooh. He's not wrong.
I mean, Frontiers has a good shot to win Game of the Year, certainly from Everborn. I can't wait for it, because I'm a stand for Sonic, but I'm a stand for Sonic Adventure. But DJ Birdo DOS drops an outstanding $10 super chat and says, this podcast is extra juicy tonight. Everborn cracking me up. Indeed, and that's what he does. But look, folks, continuing the onslaught of good topics. As it was announced last week, in surprising form and fashion, Hitman 3, in fact, all three Hitmans, the Hitman trilogy, is coming to Xbox Game Pass on the 20th. That along with Extraction, that along with Nobody Saves the World, which, by the way, is one of those indie games from the makers of Guacamelee that you should play and download day and date into Xbox Game Pass. We have it on confirmation that IO Interactive is in fact working exclusively right now with Xbox on Project Dragon, and that has been described as a game is Destiny meets World of Warcraft, and those exact words come to good friend of this show and good friend of the community, Jez Corden of Windows Central, when he was discussing the game openly. But what's interesting, folks, is what happened today. It was announced tell you, things happen in the world of gaming that you're like, wow. Well, it was announced that IOI and IO Interactive has just started a hiring spree for their new studio in Barcelona, Spain.
Hey, Boom, real quick,
sir.
Let me ask you a question. I know you're coming to this. Where did they get the money to do that?
Oh, stop it.
Well, it's funny because
stop leading the witness, man. Come on now.
But I did sell this to the masses that are here, and we have over 300 people here, and I want to thank everybody for coming out and supporting this show that we do weekly. We quite enjoy doing. It is, it makes you wonder whether or not the IO acquisition has already happened. We know that they were at some point owned by Square Enix. They left Square Enix, like many studios, and like Square Enix has done to Crystal Dynamics and several others, threw them under the bus as well. They sold them the rights back to of course, of Hitman. And the question that I'm going to pose, and I'm going to start with Tay, he's our special guest. When you start seeing the very similar to what Everborn just said, they just opened up a brand new studio. They're going on an outstanding and ridiculous hiring spree to not only produce I'm assuming further Hitman titles or support what they currently have, but they're also working on Project Dragon, but they're also working on a 007 original IP. And I have a feeling that that is going to wind up converting to an Xbox exclusive, just based on the James Bond N64 game being remade, or for later on this year, as that was announced as an Xbox exclusive. And I think Nintendo is getting the original GoldenEye on their online service. We could say, very similar to what Everborn just said, where are they getting this money from to do all of this hiring, to open up this new studio on the other side of the world, and to take on James Bond, Project Dragon, and continue to support Hitman? They're a small independent studio which doesn't have a lot of players in it. I like to believe that they might be one of those studios that have been acquired, just has not been announced, and we could see something soon. Tay, what are your thoughts on, first of all, Hitman, the trilogy, coming to Xbox Game Pass? Because that is hundreds, if not 1,000 hours worth of play. The content is ridiculous. But what are your thoughts on how would you feel if IO and Hitman became first party?
I think it's huge for Xbox. First of all, the Hitman trilogy coming through, and if Microsoft was to purchase them, I mean, it could have happened already. We don't really know the talk, what's been going on. But when I was looking at IO, they're a very interesting company, just because they've done a full circle in the sense that they were acquired before by Square Enix, and then they managed to do what most developers can't do, which is they managed to leave Square, or they managed to leave their publisher, and then they managed to also obtain
They made it out alive.
Yeah,
exactly,
no
which is really rare. And I was listening to what the CEO said, and he said, I'm going to paraphrase it, but he said something to the tune of, now we can chart our own like destiny or something like that, right? So it's going to take something very special if you're going to potentially give all that up to sign with another publisher. You must align with them, let's say culturally, and I think you must believe that financially that they support your vision. And that's when I think this Project Dragon comes into play. I think
10-year project, by the way.
Exactly. And I think the main thing here is I don't think Microsoft wants just another developer. I think they actually want a developer that they can actually grow it. And I think they want to make sure that this is the right thing for them. So the project works in the sense that like they both get to know each other, right? They both get to understand how each other works. So,
Yes.
IO gets to find out, is Microsoft always going down their neck every single week, calling them, what are the updates? I think it's that back and forth. And once you realize that, you know what, this makes sense, then I think that's where the acquisition occurs. It's a good catch from Microsoft, for sure. But I think even from their point of view, they don't look at them as, okay, fine, you know what, you're going to release these games and it's going to do good. I think Microsoft wants to take them to the next level. I think those are the kind of developers that they're looking to acquire. They have amazing talents. Like I actually haven't played the Hitman games, but I've seen enough of them to know that
Hitman 3 is a work of art. If you look at how that game looks, just like there's a specific level that blew me away. I think it's in India, where you have to. There's a marble flooring throughout the entire level that you could see the reflection of him when it's breathtaking. And first of all, I would look. I know we're not going to get into who's the better IP. Is Master Chief better than this one or that one? I'm not going to get into that. But I will say that Agent 47 is a character that is synonymous with gaming, and I would put him up there with the Marios. I'd put him up there with the Tomb Raiders and Lara Crofts. I'd put him up there with the Master Chiefs.
As long as you didn't say Sonic. We okay.
Well, I would say that he could stand with Sonic simply because
See?
he has been around for.
He's been around long enough, yeah.
Right. So getting that as an, I mean, IO in themselves. First of all, I just confirmed it. According to LinkedIn, they have officially 200 employees only, and that number stopped in 2021. So they're currently sitting at 200. To think of what they did after leaving Square, right, and releasing what many people in this community have Hitman 3 in their top 5 of 2021. Even some said they should have gotten the Game of the Year nod. No doubt about that. Getting this as a first party IP along with the studio that is going to work on potentially 2 exclusives, it's a big deal, Tay.
No, it's huge, and I think from a Microsoft perspective, it's a great catch. And to be honest, I actually need to play the games myself, because as soon as I saw this, I was thinking this is something I've missed out on. And what do you know, it's on Game Pass, so it's probably something I'll try in the coming weeks for sure. Microsoft, I think out of all the rumors I've heard of, certain companies that they're looking to acquire, I found this one the most interesting, and I think this is probably maybe not from a publisher point of view, but from a developer point of view, probably the biggest catch, I think.
For some reason, and again, this is just an opinion, Tay. I get Ninja Theory vibes from IO Interactive in regards to size and pure talent that could be acquired. And I think you're onto something. I think this is the kind of studio that would work well with Microsoft. And I think that you don't sign on for a 10-year project in gaming, right? This isn't a food business. This is gaming, and everything. Gaming changes from day to day, week to week, month to month, year to year, unless you are you understand what Microsoft is selling. Right. And you don't say we have this project that is going to be a big World of Warcraft or WoW meets Destiny, and that be an Xbox exclusive and be working with them. I don't think you do that unless you're confident that you can, agree to such terms. And when I see that kind of a deal, and when I see a new studio in Barcelona, and it's supposed to be pretty gorgeous, and pretty big. They're hiring at a fever's pitch. It makes me believe that there could be an acquisition very similar to what.
Can I add on really quick to Tay's point? And I think he does. Tay, you bring up something very interesting, which is, do you go through all the trouble of getting out from underneath a terrible publisher? By all accounts, I said it.
Yeah, Square Enix. They're terrible.
Man. You're right. They're the worst.
Terrible people.
Do you turn back around, and I don't care if it's all kumbaya and peach fuzz and all this stuff. Do you turn back around and sign with anybody and give up your independence again after you did all that? After you went through all that trouble, that's a difficult ask for anybody, and that could put something on it. That being said, Microsoft, at least at this time, is one of the few publishers who will say, when you come over here, you do what you do.
Yeah,
the booty lets you breathe, is what you're saying. The booty lets you breathe.
See,
Jesus.
I'm gonna say pause for the audience. Now, again,
that's what I'm here for today. I'm sorry.
The comic relief, I love it. That's great.
Okay, but more seriously, them making what they want will serve, it will create value for the Game Pass model, and it will fill holes that need to be filled. Mm-hmm. So if you are going to give up your freedom again, you're going to go somewhere where you can basically make what you want, which is the reason you wanted your freedom anyway, but it takes away some of the fear of being out on your own.
Yes.
So
yeah.
Exactly.
I understand both sides of it, is what I'm saying. But you do make a great point, Tay, that it is a difficult ask for someone to say, I fought to get this freedom. Now I'm gonna give it up again and give back the IP that I just fought to get again.
I mean, there
Yeah,
is
you
one
must
thing.
you must
though.
trust them.
Yes,
there is one
indubitably.
piece of the
Yeah.
puzzle though. There is another company that literally did exactly the same thing, Bungie, and they did it twice. They got out from underneath Microsoft,
Yeah.
only to get underneath Activision, and then got out from underneath Activision as well. You know,
Still alive, baby.
True, it is true that that is a difficult ask, but to be able to make the games at the high clip that they want to and be able to fund it well, you need that big money, man. It's a needle they have to thread.
It is to add to what Asante said, it's a razor's edge that they must walk. But I think the difference is Microsoft has 23 studios, and there are some small ones in there. You know, small ones that have now expanded. Ninja Theory, Obsidian, In Exile. The coalition.
Yeah.
There's quite a few smaller ones in there that I'm sure. These developers talk, folks. Just because one works on this franchise and this one doesn't work on this franchise, doesn't mean that they're not good friends and they're talking. And the talk of the town has been Xbox in the way because they've gotten criticized this by many people. Oh, I'm just tired of Microsoft letting people do what they want. That's ridiculous. They should make them do this. Well, we see how that works out, and that's not a good way to do business. And Microsoft, this is a much different Microsoft. And we're seeing that people want to team up with them. People want to work with them because of the way Matt Booty and Phil Spencer and Sarah Bond and the rest of the team, Aaron Greenberg, handle their business. And obviously, we got to remember, folks, this gaming is a business. They want everyone wants to make money, but to Kay Asante's point, which is an excellent one, they want to make these tenacious games that have scope and scale of something that is a little outside of their budget. Well, the days of crowdfunding the next Hitman 4 isn't something that they want to do because that doesn't always work. And right now, if they were to sign with Microsoft, they're getting themselves in a position where Microsoft says, yeah, you want to make Hitman 4, go crazy. Just, let us know what you need. And they just say what they need. And yeah, we need to hire X amount of devs. Okay. Whatever. And I think that in itself is the conversation. But Dutch, I want to grab your opinion on this. IO, big get from Microsoft, and could it have already happened?
Yeah, it's quite possible. I think there's quite a few of them. We've known over the last few months that Microsoft, Xbox have been, should we say, putting the feelers out and testing certain developers and studios that they're working with on, much like Avalanche. Of course, with the development of Contraband, that's very much a test phase to see how they work together and how the project goes, etc. And IO is one of them. Obviously, going with them on an exclusive title, that's a big undertaking in anyone's books. And of course, as we know, that is the start of how relationships build. We can only hope that the project Project Dragon goes well, and whatever that project is awesome, and it's a new experience, something a little bit different. I think developers like IO probably want to get away from doing stuff that they've been doing for years, so they'll probably be wanting to get away from Hitman for a bit now. They've got a trilogy. The last one in the series, Hitman 3, was extremely well received, and rightfully so. I hope that it goes well. I can only imagine. I don't think it's probably already happened, but it's most definitely they're putting the groundwork in to make sure that they have the best tools possible to complete the projects that they've agreed upon so far. And if this goes well, then that could very well lead to an acquisition. Personally, it's the same boat as, like I say, Avalanche, and I think very much the same boat as Asobo.
Yes.
Those three studios particularly are very much in the fire range of Microsoft testing them right now. I think Asobo is probably going to be out of all of them, Asobo is probably the nearest one to potential acquisition. I think the work that they're doing is specifically getting. I mean, after you've got to think after the sheer success of A Plague's Tale, which was out of the blue, to get a Plague's Tale Requiem into Game Pass day one, that's massive.
huge.
I forgot
dude.
about that. When is that coming, Dutch?
That's
Is that
the middle
March?
part of the year?
March,
or-
I think. Yeah, it's like March, April.
First
I
quarter.
completely forgot about that.
Did you?
Yep.
I'm assuming, Mag, you played the first one.
I loved the first one. It was
Masterpiece.
incredible.
Yeah.
And
Sorry,
you know,
sorry. I
you
didn't
know
mean to
what?
interrupt. I was just shocked.
Yeah,
I didn't
real
remember.
real quick. You know, and Everborn said this. I'm surprised he didn't chime in on this. If you think about it, Plague's Tale 2 was completely funded by Microsoft money because they used the money from Flight Sim to do so. You know,
Yep.
so it's almost tit for tat here. You know, why
and
wouldn't
Flight
it be in
Sim's got a-
Game
yeah.
Pass, right?
Flight Sim's got a 10-year plan with the
There you go.
Sobo as well.
Yep,
So
yep.
it's a long-standing relationship that they intend to do it. And they, like I say, in terms of a Sobo, they're one step above both Avalanche and IO. They have their own game engine, which is now proven,
Yes.
and it's a fantastic engine.
Hey,
Like that
Mike,
is just phenomenal.
Game Pass is like Denzel Washington at the Oscars. They going home with something.
I love it. That's great. Because who doesn't love Denzel Washington? I mean, that's a man of men. No doubt about that. But anything else you'd like to add to the conversation?
No, like I
Dutch?
say, it's particularly it's like I say, Microsoft, I think now are doing very much testing grounds. They're not just going out and just like buying everyone left, right, and center. People like to always say that about Ninja Theory, but if you go way back, Ninja Theory created Enslaved Odyssey to the West, which was an Xbox exclusive title. And then, of course, like I say, you have a look at Bethesda. That's a 20-year relationship. Like that's the beginning of Xbox and the first time they ported a game to console. So the studios that they've purchased aren't like just overnight things. These are things that have been long-standing.
Hey, Dutch.
Yes.
How long has Microsoft been working with Sega?
Oh God!
Decades.
Somebody mute this man.
Yeah.
Speaking of which, by the way,
they helped them make the Dreamcast.
They
did. Yeah.
They absolutely did. Absolutely. Que Asante, I want to come to you next on this. I want to get your opinion, but I got to thank a couple of people. First of all, Brian Hopkins, good, generous friend of the show. He drops a $10 super chat. This is the holiday messed me up. I forgot. It was primetime gaming night. Silly me. Thank you so much for assembling to give us an awesome show and an awesome panel. Cheers, guys. And you know something? I want to say that tonight I failed as a host because I had written down notes that I wanted to open up with talking about Dr. Martin Luther King. If you don't know, my brother is African American, and I'm like a shake and bake of races. Today's a special day. Today is a day that it's a holiday. People get off. People get to sleep late on this particular Monday. But it's a much more important day for what that man and his family continue to do, and that is equality, race relations in this country. I apologize that I didn't open up with it because I did have notes to talk about it. It's important to me personally, professionally, and I think morally it should be important to everyone because where you come from and the color of your skin should never matter. And Dr. Martin Luther King tried to and succeeded in making that an important conversation that even many, many, many years after his untimely death still matter, and his family continue to be in the news and march forth of what he wanted to do. So, of course, I would just want to wish all of our African American community a very happy Dr. Martin Luther King Day. It's important to talk about, and it's important that it's not lost. It's just a holiday that we get off from work, that it's important, the message that stands behind what Dr. King and his family continue to do. But with that said, and I didn't want to bring it down, but I had to talk about it. It's important to me as a human being and someone that is my wife is Hispanic. My family comes from both Poland and Madrid, Spain. I got a little American Indian Cherokee as well. And my brother is, in fact, African American. So I am a shake and bake of races and probably why I get along with everyone that crosses my path, because quite frankly, I do love everyone. But let me continue and say that we have a new channel member in the form of Nathan Rogan. Thank you so much for becoming a channel member. Definitely appreciate that. Brian Hopkins drops an additional $2 super chat and says, IO is a big get. Very effective and a skilled team. Indeed it is. The wise old gamer, good and generous friend of the show. The nastiest one of the bunch, but a great guy altogether. He says this in typical old game, wise old gamer form and format. He says, let me see where it is. Microsoft makes studios grow faster than Viagra. Maybe they should just change the color from green to Viagra blue. I don't even know what to say to that. He also says,
after that, it's Nightwolf.
Okay,
yeah.
Very good. And Nightwolf, a good and generous friend of the show, has been a supporter of this channel for quite some time. Nightwolf, thank you for being here, and thank you for your $5 super chat. He says, the sheer thought of IO possibly becoming an Xbox studio is pretty cool. Curious as to what cool new IPs they could make. What are your thoughts? Yeah, I mean, look, they're working on James Bond. They're going to continue Hitman. And of course, they're working on Project Dragon, which is a monster undertaking. I don't know, with 200 people and they're hiring in Barcelona, could they undertake any more? But I am excited to find out, because I think that they really do fit that Microsoft format of who you'd want to add to the to your growing list of developers. But Kay Asante, could they have signed already? And what are your thoughts? Would that be a big get for Xbox Game Pass, and the millions of fans?
Yeah, I actually think it's very interesting, the whole situation with IO Interactive. A lot of people forget two things. First off, like to your point, Boom, when they first started doing the Kickstarter for Hitman 1, the number one complaint people had was, oh, this game is coming in small doses. It wasn't it wasn't one whole game in pieces. Why? Because they couldn't afford to make the whole thing, right? So whether they like it or not, they need some big money backing, right?
Indeed.
Obviously, it needs to be big money backing that backs off. As I said, the booty got to let him breathe. Forgive me. I had to do that. Pause. But it as has been said aptly by the panel members, it's all a trial run. They're trying to see how well they work together. Tay said that. See how well they work together. See how well the culture of the companies gel before maybe possible acquisitions or further deepening of that relationship happens, right? So I definitely am interested in that. Another thing that most people forget is Hitman has already been in Game Pass. 1 and 2 were in Game Pass for quite some time, right? But at that time, they were not the biggest hitters of the day. There were, the eye of Game Pass was more on the whole AAA thing. So Game Pass got them for a while. They were good, and then they left. And now we're talking about a trilogy, not just adding the third one in to complete it.
Oh no,
but
1
they're
and
re-releasing
2.
the trilogy.
Yes.
So all of them
right,
are in
yeah,
there,
yeah.
And do I think that it's a possibility that they could be acquired already? Although Microsoft is a publicly traded company, so far,
we'd have to know
IO is
about
not.
it. Someone had wrote that in the chat. That's correct. Yes.
But IO is not a publicly
No.
traded company. The only time you would have to know about it, and that is actually how Microsoft got away with acquiring a few other studios that they dropped at E3, right? Because those companies they acquired were not publicly traded.
Were privately.
So there was no disclosure necessary and all that. So
Right.
it is definitely a possibility that some situations have happened. Although, as Tay has also pointed out, being that they have been once bitten, twice shy, it would have to be some magic happening at Microsoft with them for them to give up their freedom once again. I am super excited that this is happening. Tay, you need to play at least start from 2. If not 1, start from 2. It's amazing games. I mean, absolutely phenomenal game, especially by the number of people who created it. And it's like a people puzzle simulator, like how you approach things. There's so many ways to get things done in that game. It is fantastic. So I'm very excited to play it again. And this is my small little thing that I'm standing on. Before they announced that it was coming to Game Pass, they also announced that they were giving VR support to all 3 of the games. So any of the games that were existing, I think at one time, 1 and 2 had VR support on PlayStation because that's the only console platform that has VR support.
Right.
But now that it's coming to Game Pass proper, including Game Pass PC, there's VR support for all three. So that means all Oculus users, you know, I'm
Yes.
looking at you, Boom, all of y'all can now get in on the greatness that is Oculus and play this full game, not a dumbed down version, a full game, all in VR. My question, which I've posed to IO, and I'm getting a bunch of likes and people replying back, will that be the version that comes to Game Pass as well? Please, somebody give me that answer, because that's what I want. That will get me to replay the whole thing if I can, because I have 1 and 2 on Xbox, and then I have 3 on the Epic Game Store. So if they release all 3 in Game Pass with VR support, oh yeah, I'm playing through that entire thing again.
Well, it's a whole new experience.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah,
Right?
It really takes it to a different place, you know. And yes, I know Mr. Everborn Saga is going to use my own argument against me and say I don't want to play games that are not built for VR. But these games were actually built with VR in mind.
I'm sorry, I couldn't hear you. You were on mute at that time. Could you repeat that last line?
Let us move swiftly along, shall we? But no, they were built with VR in mind in the first place. That is why they were able to enable it on the PlayStation platform in VR, because they built it in a way. You have to build a game with accuracy. Otherwise, the minute you put it in VR, you know, all of a sudden buildings are too high and it just doesn't work. So they built them with the idea that eventually they would allow VR 3-dimensional play in it. So that's why it was seamless in its integration. So being able to do that with all 3, it's going to be absolutely fantastic. People want that next AAA experience, you know, in VR. This is that. This is definitely that. You know, so are they going to do it? Are they going to? Is Microsoft acquiring them? I don't know. I hope so, but a small piece of me says that would be kind of sad, because as soon as they do, we may never see any VR integration from them again. So we don't know. You know what I'm saying?
Never say
never. Yes. I hope not, is what I'm saying. I
think you'd still see it because Microsoft releases all their games on Steam.
Yes, they do.
So it would just be on the PC side.
Yeah, it's just one of those things that you never know, because there have been games that have been definitely released in the Xbox Game Pass, the PC Game Pass store now, that did get VR support, whereas others completely didn't, and there's a Steam version that is. So it's just kind of, you know, they've been all over the place so far with that. So I hope to see where this goes. But yes, it's very exciting times, and those who have not played those games, you now have no excuse. It is absolutely a tour de force. It is, you know, especially the amount of people that they put to work on that thing, the passion for the game. They have successfully revived Hitman like Lara Croft was revived by Crystal Dynamic and the others.
100%.
You know, people forget that Agent 47 is from that era. All they remember now is these games that are coming out now. So you know, they've successfully done it, and I'm looking forward to playing them again.
Yeah.
You've sold it to me, so I'm
we'll talk, brother. I can't wait to hear what you say. Yeah, and I think K Sunday is right. I think if you're going to start with something, start with 2. 2 is really good. But I want to get Nag, but before I do, a couple of bomb super chats have come in. JD Gamer once again drops an additional $10 super chat and says, of all the studios that Microsoft needs to get, Asobo is first in line for you. To me, he says their streaming tech is in the game engine for Flight Sim has to be brought in-house and reimagined. It could be added to Forza Tech. Just awesome. We also have a very, almost ridiculous super chat from good friend and generous friend of the show, Bunty. He drops, folks, a $50 super chat and says, enough respect, Boom, enough respect. Thank you for recognizing Dr. Martin Luther King, and that's why I love your show and will always be a member as long as you have a show. Enough respect. Yeah, I mean, it's like I said, I feel bad halfway through the show that I decided to talk about that. It should have been the opening conversation because it's incredibly important. I get it. The holiday aspect gets really lost on the message that's supposed to be there, you know. And look, I can't say if any other podcast is going to talk about it, but I'm proud that we did, to be honest with you. And it's important to me to have spoken about it. And I thank you for the ridiculous generosity. We also have Brian Hopkins drops an additional. And I'm very generous, $20 super chat in addition to what he already did. So I appreciate the diverse panel, especially on a day like this. Cheers, brothers. Thank you for all the awesome content that all you folks offer. You're awesome, and I appreciate your hard work. Well, we appreciate you and, of course, the generosity. But, Mag, let's get in on IO is, Kay Asante brings up a great point. No one thinks about where they were. The other hitmans that were received. I don't know if you would consider them well received. I think that people loved playing them, but when they rebooted the series, when they put a new spin on the way that you do things, specifically in the challenges where the hard targets you have to go out and you had to go find, you had to get clues, and it was. I remember the giant bomb guys like making it almost a part of their podcast. They were talking about killing the clown guy and how they did it and everything else. But this is an opportunity for Microsoft, seeing how. I mean, again, we can only assume that they're working well together because, like I was talking with Tay earlier, you don't sign on for a 10-year project unless you're comfortable with the said developer, because they obviously just came from working with Square Enix, who you'll hear Everborn Saga talk about very scandalously, and for good reason, because they are just terrible people over at there are a bunch of terrible publishers over there.
Yes,
We've
they
heard
are.
it. They're terrible.
Yeah, let's not call them terrible people, but terrible publishers.
They're
They're
can't say
horrible.
the people. The people may be
Very
great,
comfortable with terrible publishers.
terrible publisher. Mag, would this be a big deal?
Yeah, and to your point, Boom, of what you said there. I'm sorry, when you get into bed with someone for 10 years, I'm sorry, you're gonna buy that ring.
Common law marriage, right? Common law.
Yeah, exactly. You know what I mean? You're in bed with these people for a long time. Okay, you know that ring is coming. You do not make a commitment like that on that level for that many years if you don't already have them.
A working relationship.
Bag, so
yeah.
And speaking of bed, by the way, Asante, you mentioned booty like 7 times tonight. You got something on your mind tonight?
Hey, I want to make a shirt that says "Respect the booty." That's all I want to do.
You should do that. I would buy that shirt.
This is better lock the door. Okay, Asante's coming for you. I'm telling you. He keeps mentioning it. Anyway,
and by the booty, I mean the Matt booty. I'm sorry, forgive me. Just so we're clear.
Jesus. Okay, all right, never mind.
The man's last name is Booty. What can I do? I'm sorry.
I know it's so amazing. It's just like the guy from Nintendo.
Writes itself,
His name is Bowser, for Christ's sake.
Exactly.
Like, I mean, it doesn't get any better than that. Anyways, here's the thing. They've openly said. Now we've talked about this earlier. That this is a dream for like a company like IO Interactive, right?
Yeah, I agree.
For them, it's a dream because not only are you going to get that financial support, okay? Not only are you going to be, I got you, okay? You're covered for life, basically, with these guys. It's not like you got to sit there and worry about turning your lights on tomorrow. Microsoft's got it under control, right? That would be the first thing. The second thing is they've openly said it. You guys have all said it on the panel, okay? Almost every single one of you guys said the same thing, is that they allow their teams to grow not only technically, okay, because of the actual equipment they get to use, the research and development that they get to utilize. It's also they get to grow artistically, right? And they allow them to do that. Now, the thing is, of course, the money helps, right? Because I mean, your artistic vision can go only so far, but the rest of it's got to be paid for somehow, right?
Yeah.
So it's a marriage of those two things, which is absolutely perfect for a company like this. That is what makes me excited. That turns a company like IO Interactive into a Naughty Dog, into what the hell they call it? My God, I can't remember. Ninja Theory. Excuse me. Yeah, Insomniac. Jeez, Insomniac, Ninja Theory. All these companies, right? These are that's what they turn into when you put your faith and your money behind it.
Yeah.
Right. And that's what I think this Project Dragon. This is not an experiment, guys. This is a 10-year project. This is a Destiny 2 kind of situation, right? Whether you love it or hate it, whatever. People love it, okay? The point is that it's something that they're investing in. They obviously have faith in the company. They obviously faith in the product, faith in the company, and faith in what we're going to be doing with it. So therefore, they're going to help them along the way. Now, the other thing, you gotta bend the knee to Everborn, okay? He said it. How'd they pay for that new studio in Barcelona?
Yeah,
You know, they didn't pay with it for
Before
coins.
camera comes on when
Yeah.
you say Ben Anita Everborn. I'm just
Yeah,
saying.
well, I knew. Yeah, well, hey, you know, there's a lot of stuff going on in this show tonight. A lot of in between the line stuff. I'm not really sure I'm comfortable with, boys. Anyways, but in all seriousness, you know, they didn't get it from the coins under their couch cushion.
No, they did not.
Okay, and they're getting it from somebody, and especially from what you're saying, Boom. It's a beautiful place, probably state of the art, right? The whole 9 yards. Okay, these don't just pop out of
You ever
nowhere.
been to Barcelona?
Yes, I have.
Beautiful place. Yeah.
Also an expensive place.
Very expensive.
Very expensive.
Very expensive place
Yes.
to live.
And you
yes.
got an office in the heart of Barcelona and you just throwing out money for new hires?
This is also a studio that only has 200 people, by the way.
Oh,
You know,
that'll
again,
grow.
Well, no, I'm saying, but I'm just saying that the size of it
Oh, right, I
indicates
see what
that they didn't find the money in the couch cushions.
Yeah, and that, you know what that sounds to me like? If they got a big studio, especially a big state-of-the-art studio, and they have 200 people, that means that they're going to be. They bought that building to expand them to 300, 400, 500 people.
Indeed,
That is exactly what they're going to do. And I tell you, I think everybody's absolutely right. Is that Microsoft's? It's already a done deal, but of course, it's just not. You know, the thing is, you got to have that ace. You know, you got to have that ace up the sleeve. You got to announce it when it is strategically. You know, when it's a good time to strategically announce it, right? You want to wait for something that you could actually not steal thunder from Sony per se, but it's all about, you know, once again, like as we talked about in the first topic of the show, it's all about the mind share. It's all about, you know, capturing the imagination of the consumers, right? And the thing is, oh, and by the way, Tay, I got to tell you something. Listen, I talk to Randall Thor pretty much on a weekly basis, right? And we talk all the time. And the one thing he said, and he's actually even said it on his show too, Hitman 3 was one of his favorite games of all of last year.
Yeah, he did say that. Yep.
Okay,
sure
and
did.
he said that multiple times. And I asked him about it a while back, and I'm like, is it really worth it? Because I was actually thinking about buying that whole whatever. I don't want to call it a box set, but you know, like that whole trilogy thing.
Mm-hmm.
And he's like, absolutely worth every penny. Of course, I didn't listen to him, and I didn't buy it anyway. It slipped through the crack, but guess what?
And there you go. You won out.
You go. You're a winner chicken dinner.
And here we are.
There
We're
you
in
go.
that situation where the FOMO actually did not pay off. It was perfect. So it actually worked out for me, right? So anyways, the point is that this is great all around. I look forward to seeing what they're going to be doing. I look forward to this Project Dragon. I look forward to dive into it in Hitman in about 3 days? 2 days from now, whatever it is. What's it, Thursday, I think.
Mm-hmm.
So so Thursday. I'm
20th,
really looking forward to it. That's right, the 20th. So there we go. So you know what? I'm excited. I'm just basically just like everybody else is quietly kind of just waiting for them to just officially announce it because, like I said, I think it's a done deal. You don't make a 10-year plan and not own that damn company. That's the way I see it.
Yeah. Somehow, just as we were getting ready to get to
Everborn, he disappeared.
He disappeared out. Hopefully, he'll be back momentarily.
Say Sega 3 times. He'll pop back in.
Yeah.
Go.
Oh my
Sega.
God, like Candyman.
Oh my God! I was
going
gonna say La Llorona or Candyman.
Someone mention Sonic quickly.
Yeah. Don't look in the mirror and say it because then obviously he's gonna
He'll
be.
pop up behind you.
Pause.
Oh, wow.
I like that one.
There you go. Dutch is in on it too now.
Yeah, this is
God,
great.
what happened to this panel?
Look, I want to say real quick, Wise Old Gamer drops an additional $2 super chat. He says, I wanted to drop a super chat just for contrast. Listen, I'm very, very thrilled and always grateful because this is not done for money. That, you know, if anyone drops super chat, trust me when I tell you, we try to reinvest in the community. Last year was our biggest giveaway year ever in the history of the channel. Specifically, the Christmas show was $1,000 show, and that's just that money's is used and turned around from the super chats and channel memberships, so we could give back to the community. And so thank you for the additional super chat, bro. Definitely appreciate that. I don't know what happened to Everborn. But we are closing in on the 2-hour mark, and Tay, it's late, it's super, super late where Tay is right now. So of course, I want to get to the outros, and if we can get Everborn back, we'll get his opinion before we get on out of here. Tay, dude, you delivered in a big way, and I really want you to sell your brand. I need you to tell people. There he is. I love it, Joe. Everborn, we'll get to you in 1 second, brother. We'll get your opinion on it. But Tay, by all means, sell your brand. Tell everyone where they could check you out. Where could they tune in for Tay Talks in your weekly videos? Check out your YouTube channel, subscribe to the channel, and of course, follow you on social media.
Yeah, first of all, thanks again, Boom, for having me. Really did enjoy this. I know we've been planning it for a while, and obviously just due to time schedules, we haven't been able to align. But I'm sure things are looking good now. Taye Talks is the name of the channel, TAYETALKS. So primarily I just deal with analysis videos on the gaming industry, character analysis such as Shepard, and obviously I've done a few Halo videos as well. And
excellent.
I reached out to Boom actually to help me out with that video, Master Chief versus Commander Shepard, and he came through with that. So really appreciate that. And also, even I do have another project in works that I'm going to reach out to you on, but like that's a separate topic for now.
Yes, absolutely.
So yeah, if you guys like RPG content, if you like gaming news videos, Xbox, PlayStation, then just come over to the channel. That's Taye Talks, TAYETALKS.
Oh, thank you very much, brother. We definitely appreciate you being here today, and we will definitely get you back for sure, so we can get you on out of here, because I know it's super, super late where you are. And of course, continuing in the super late area, Wandering Dutch, I don't want to keep you too long, brother, because I know you got to get up for work. By all means, sell your brand, brother. Talk about what you got going on, not only in the coming weeks, but this year, for obviously your incredible podcast with your group of mates that are all bring something special to the conversation each and every week. And of course, where could people reach out and potentially reach and have a conversation with the best beard in the business?
Yeah, awesome to be back again. Had an awesome night tonight. Really great chats, great opinions as always. Tay, sorry, incorrectly pronouncing you there, but Tay, awesome to podcast for your first time, brother. Nice to see even more European guys. It's hard graft over in Europe to try and get some crowds. We know this because all of the audience is over in the US.
Yeah, tell me about it, man.
Yeah, it's hard going, but yeah, keep it up, brother. I'm gonna definitely check out what you've got going on. But yeah, awesome show, awesome chat, awesome panel. Of course, you can find me on Twitter at Wondering Dutch. YouTube at Wondering Dutch, of course, the home of the Midweek Mix-Up podcast, along with now the weekend edition of the Midweek Mix-Up podcast, which is myself and General C, rounding up the news, a nice shorter show just to round off the week on a Sunday evening.
Nice.
At 1:30 in the afternoon for the US in Eastern time, 6:30 p.m. for the UK crowd.
Nice.
So yes, that's what we've got going on at the moment. But looking forward to coming back again next week. It's been awesome this evening.
Yeah, well, thank you so much. And of course, let's get the mag out of here, because obviously you handle some stuff on the back end of your job. And I know that you had
as if I didn't work enough today, right?
I know
like,
those.
Oh, you have a call it. And like, yeah, thanks. Yeah.
By all means,
Yes.
talk about where you're going to be tomorrow night. Of course, that is on Noof Nukem's channel on Gaming After Dark. But also, what else you got going on? Where could people reach out to you and potentially strike up a conversation with the best bald head in the business?
Well, you know what, guys? It was a great show. Tay, it was awesome to have you on the show tonight. So eloquently spoken, everything that he says. I can't even argue with him because he sounds so smooth. I feel bad pushing back. I don't want to push back. He sounds so awesome. It's like Billy Ocean from the 80s. Remember that guy?
Yes.
Loved him. Yeah, okay. He's got
Only
that
old
voice.
dudes like us remember that, unfortunately.
Of course, old dudes like us. Yeah, the middle-aged game guys that we are, right? So, But anyways, guys, yes, obviously you can find me here every Monday night, 7 p.m. Of course, tomorrow night, you can find me at 10 p.m. Eastern with Noof Nukem and Titan Drago on Gaming After Dark, of course. And yes, I missed a lot of shows in the last couple of weeks, but I am back in there. And you know what? I actually had some YouTube stuff I was working on, which had to go on the back burner because I had to take care of family first. However, I still was able to sneak in a few ridiculous videos on Twitter. And I got to tell you, that last one, man, did it ever piss off a lot of people. But guess
sure
what?
did.
Still got 183,000 people to come stare at it and get even more pissed off. So guess what? It worked out very nicely. So I was so super proud about that. And speaking of which, yes, obviously you can follow me on Twitter, the Middle Age Game Guy. You guys all know where you can find me. And I just want to thank each and every single one of you guys that follow and support everything I do. And of course, everybody on this panel, you guys are absolutely amazing. Guys, If you haven't checked out any of the content from any of these people on this panel, go check it out, please. Okay, support these guys. These guys are working hard, and they got a lot of great things to say. So get in there, get going, and guys, I have to dip out. So let everybody have a great evening. We will talk to you guys next week.
Yeah, thanks, bro. Definitely appreciate that.
Have a good one, man.
Asante, I'm gonna just grab Everborn, then we'll get you on out of here. Everborn, before we do your outro, you bumped off for a hot second, but I definitely want to get your opinion on the IO Interactive situation. Everyone on the panel brought up some great points. The fact that it's not publicly traded certainly falls into the category of why you and I we talk weekly on this, why we believe that the acquisition potentially already happened, because they don't have to report that to anybody at this point, except for Microsoft investors. But the contract could be done. It's just, maybe that's not signed. But again, everyone brought up elegant points about no one signing a 10-year deal to work with a company if you didn't feel comfortable with said people. Would it be, in your opinion, a big get for Microsoft to get Hitman as a first-party IP?
It would, but I wonder whether when we're getting another Hitman. Meaning, I know that the trilogy stands where it stands, and I don't remember them. I know they're going to support it for a while, but anything they support will probably end up.
Well, it could be. Well, they are hiring at a fever's pitch. I mean, if you look at what they're looking to hire, they could take on multiple projects.
Imagine they finish Hitman up with the third one done, and now they have a Bond trilogy.
Yes. Right. This is what I'm saying. But even still, it could be, they have 3 teams now, right? Because remember, if this acquisition happens, that's not just one studio, but 3 new teams added to the 35 teams. Mm-hmm. So one studio's Project Dragon, one studio could be Bond, and maybe one studio is just like ongoing support for
Hitman.
So it could be big. And listen, I think JD Gamer brought up Asobo, someone else who happened to sign a 10-year deal, which was very fruitful for them, right? For Flight Sim, and we see ending up in Game Pass, just like Hitman, right?
Interesting.
So, and in terms of when you announce it, I think you announce it when it's beneficial for you, not necessarily to be petty, but if they ever start doubting your name again, you know what I'm saying? Why don't you hold this Avalanche, Asobo, and IO Interactive acquisition real quick, right? Mm-hmm. So the thing is, I think personally, you hold it for E3. It gains you nothing announcing it right now,
no,
right? And even from the topic earlier, I think Horizon Forbidden West is going to suck up all the oxygen in the room. And anything you do right now next to that is going to be a waste of a PR effort. But guess what? People are going to beat that game. We get to March. That's it. There's no multiplayer option. And I don't misconstrue what I'm saying as one and done, because my favorite games are one and done, because ain't nobody got time to be running back and forth playing games that don't have an end plan. That's why I don't play Destiny anymore after 500 hours. So what I'm saying is, let Horizon have its moment, right? Mm-hmm. Don't waste the PR capital. And then in March, when everyone finishes that and we're having our spoiler discussions, boom. Yeah. Now's the time to talk about it. In case you forgot. Roy Jones made a song like that one time called Y'all Must Have Forgot. I don't know if you remember that.
That was a terrible song, but I remember.
Terrible song. But the point still stands. So again, I think you stock them up, because listen, again, anybody that says, "Oh, there's no way this is done," do you think in 2018 they bought all of those studios the day before they announced them?
No, they did not. No.
Right? So they bought them over the course of a year, maybe more. And that could be the same thing now. They're not telling you for no reason that we're not done purchasing things. So, it just so happens that it hasn't leaked, and things like that don't leak because, there's financial implications. So anybody involved that knows is just not going to tell you yet. So could it be? Yes. Is it definite? No. But I all I can say is I would not be surprised. And I said it before, I don't think we see publisher acquisitions this year. No. Not that we won't see one, but just not this year. Fingers crossed on Sonic, and or Sega, I should say. Oh, by the way, Sonic Unleashed $450 right now. You can buy it. Just bought it.
Nice.
Just saying. Anyway, but I think you hold it for E3 and you have another E3 of dreams, because I want to paint a picture for you, and then we'll do our outros here. Now you get to E3 2022. It's no E3, but Microsoft press conference, right?
Right.
They come out and we get 3 vertical slices, a la what they did with Hellblade 2, or what how Sony does their things, and you get a Avowed vertical slice.
Yep.
You get Contraband vertical slice. You get Perfect Dark vertical slice, and maybe a little bit of Halo, Fable vertical slice, and then they announce for the first time the first Halo story expansion, because that's another 10-year project, and on top of all of that, they'll announce Project Dragon alongside, by the way, IO Interactive is coming home.
Yeah.
Right. And then, you thought we were done yet? You see Plague's Tale that's about to come out, also a first party studio. And then they show you a little bit of Contraband, what it's going to be. Hold on to that other acquisition.
Yeah.
Right. There's nobody that can compete with if that's the show that they do.
No,
right?
It'd be better
if
than
you
last
announce
year's.
one or
Last year's was
two
a
bangers,
masterpiece.
that's not going to compete with that. So that's the time you hold it for. Don't worry about, like I say, stick to the plan, my man.
Yeah,
stick to the plan.
And keeping to the plan, as usual, please sell your brand, brother. Tell everyone where they could obviously support your Thursday, show, which of course is incredible. Talk about the Saturday show with Kay Asante that you guys just did, which was masterful. Mrs. Boomstick and I listened to it, and you weren't here for it. Mrs. Boomstick like, man, they do fight a lot. And I'm like, nah, they're brothers. They fight all the time like that. It's okay.
You're like an old married couple. In this guy.
Talk about the Everborn Saga, brother.
Yes. Everborn Saga, everbornsaga.com, Everborn Saga everywhere. But we do produce a bunch of comics. We've released 2 series already. There's 4
successful
chapters.
Series, by the way.
Yes, 2 successful series. We did 2 Kickstarters last year alone. We're getting ready to launch our 3rd series, The Redlands, and then The Remnant is coming after that. I am building the MCU of fantasy anime. Put all those things together. MCU, fantasy, anime. That's what the Everborn Saga is. You can get into it right now by going over to everbornsaga.com. See some of the books we produce. I promise you the quality is up there with any of the big billion-dollar franchises. Check us out. We put a lot of hard work into it, and there's much more to come in 2022. I will not hold up the show. Sega coming home soon. That's it.
I love it. Of course, you had to throw Sega in there, but Kay Asante.
I did.
Yes.
Listen, your Saturday show, man, big upgrades. Big upgrades. I don't know how you did it with OBS, because that's not happening here on this channel. I tried OBS a couple times, and
we're going to talk you into it, Boom.
He will not. I have too many horror stories. I like the simplicity of what you see in front of you, and StreamYards is constantly advancing, and eventually going to get 4K footage, which they're working on right now in the back ends. Talk about the Saturday show, talk about the upgrades, and of course, where can people strike up a conversation with you on social media?
Yes. Well, first off, I'll say I appreciate being back here on the show. It's always awesome guest. Appreciate you being here, good sir. It's hard to get you on the show because of your time is so difficult, but we'll talk about that, because we got to get you on some other shows, man. It was really good being able to chop it up with you, Ty. It's awesome to have you here. I appreciate all the folks that have been able to jump in on our Saturday show, the Gaming Circle podcast. Yes, we switched to OBS. We're trying different things. It
looked really good, man. Really
running
really
everything
good.
manually, but we're trying. It's good. It's fun. And as we go along, we're adding more stuff to it as well. Next week's show, you'll see a few more upgrades that we didn't add last week. So we're growing leaps and bounds. Also, now you can find the show on your favorite podcasting app of choice, whether it be Apple, Google, all those various podcasting apps. We're doing that, building the website, doing the whole thing as 2022 demands that we go onward and upward. So thanks for all the support for everybody in here who comes and checks it out. All the PTG brethren that make appearances from time to time and are also found in the chat. I appreciate all y'all. Thank you so much. So yes, you can find us Saturdays, the Gaming Circle podcast, or in your news feeds of choice, or later on YouTube as you see fit. And we appreciate y'all being here. And thank you so much for this awesome conversation. And we'll see you guys next week.
Thank you so much. And of course, folks, I want to thank all the super chats that come in. There were quite a few of them. We don't expect anything on this channel. We always are very appreciative of the support that comes in, specifically financially, because again, this is not a big channel. We're not even hit 10K yet. And even if we hit 1 million subs tomorrow, Boom is still going to be the same dude opening up the door for anyone that wants to walk through, because that's how I was taught to live. And speaking of which, I want to just close out the show with something that is important to me. Hopefully one day it'll be important to you. And that's something that our dad taught us when we were kids. And I think now, more than ever, it's incredibly relevant and super important. And he said, Craig, treat others how you want to be treated. Also, it doesn't cost anything to be nice. You live by those rules, and I can guarantee you're going to have an awesome day. So take care, everyone, and we'll see you next week on the newest episode of Primetime Gaming with Mr. Boomstick and Friends.